Hi, I'm Brandon. I'm loving When Calls the Heart.
Hi, I'm Jax, and I like When Calls the Heart.
I'm Dan. Make it stop. And this is the
Deck
the
the
Hallmark
Hallmark
podcast.
podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast. Brandon and friends host his podcast. We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Well, hello, everybody. It's great to be here today. Another Thursday, another When Calls the Heart. We only got a couple more episodes left. Can you believe that?
That's unbelievable. Man, I feel like we just started When Calls the Heart.
Yeah, it does feel like that. For those of you that are watching on philo.tv/DTH, hello, it's great to see you. Jax, I can't help.
Is that a new necklace? You have one? A new necklace?
I am not
New tank?
somebody who typically notices things. I think Dan and I are both pretty.
Yeah,
we kind of
we're
miss
not
out.
great.
You,
I'm only good in comparison to Brand.
there's like a slight difference.
If you're watching on Philo. Yeah.
What's going on?
Well, I visited Fiona's hair salon, and I got a new do. It's short, it's blonde, and I think it looks just about as good as the hairdos that Fiona does in her hair salon.
That was the nicest way to be mean I've ever heard in my life. I'm going to do it to myself. So
I got to be honest, Jax. Pulling it off.
Yeah. You look
Really?
like the
Yeah.
you look like the sisters from the original Parent Trap were in a storm.
Oh my gosh, that is actually so accurate. Yep.
Yeah, go look that up, somebody.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, somebody go look that up.
Yep.
Oh, they were inspirational to me when they cut their hair. Well, one of them, I mean,
That's
it's
right.
one
Yeah.
person, but she gets her hair.
Wait,
one of
what?
when one of them cuts their hair? No, there are two Lindsay Lohans in the new one. Come on, guys.
Two Lindsay Lohans.
Yeah.
Keep up. We're talking about When Calls the Heart, season 10, episode 10. Very excited to break it down. Why wait? Because we all know this episode is still going to be an hour. Season 10, episode 10. All dressed up, and I'm all dressed up. Originally aired on October 1st, 2023. As October came, so did. Here we go, and it went a little something like this. Elizabeth is writing in her journal about her fears of losing Nathan, a Mountie she cares about a lot. Just like she lost Jack. So she's doing very well. Lucas is telling Elizabeth and crew that he is going to talk to the governor about having the water stolen from him. Remember last week, the raw water? When Elizabeth finds out that the governor wants to meet with Lucas about his future, she's very surprised. He didn't think to mention that to her from when we knew about it to now, which is an unknown amount of time, but I'm still mad about it. Elizabeth literally bumps into Nathan, and she congratulates him on the medal that he's going to get for the hostage situation. Elizabeth gets word that her wedding dress has arrived. She says it feels silly with everything else that's going on. That's because it is. When they open it up, it's the wrong dress.
Oh, no.
Rosemary says, luckily for you,
Bad omen.
I'm a seamstress. I'll fix it. But Elizabeth thinks that it could be a bad omen. When Rosemary presses her to see if she's having doubt, she says, no, very fast. Too fast? Who can say? Lucas and the governor got on a buggy, a horse and buggy.
Yeah, yes, a carriage, sure.
Stagecoach, maybe? I don't know, man. Anyway, they're on it. They're on the ride, and they're gonna tour. But then the bad Bernie asked to tag along. What's that about? When they get to the springs are full of water.
Pulled a fast one.
So Lucas has a plan. Pull Bernie aside to talk to him, while Nathan and Lee keep the tour moving with the governor, and they tell him the truth. Lucas begs Bernie to reconsider all the water stealing that he's planning on doing, but Bernie says, listen, I'm a big city boy. I see the big picture. You people, you small town people, you don't get it. but he is still impressed when he realizes that Lucas swindled him. So, I mean, maybe small town people aren't as dumb as he thought. Bill goes to try to talk to Madeleine Albright. What's her name?
It's not Madeleine Albright.
Okay.
It's Rebecca St. James.
Got it. Rebecca St. James. And he does. She says that the governor they tell the governor about the plot to steal the water, and he's like, I won't stand for it. That sounds criminal. Rebecca St. James comes clean and tells Bill that Bernie was her late husband's business partner. Her late husband was a gambler and left her with quite a bit of debt that is owed to Bernie, but she never thought that Hope Valley would get hurt. She kept the deed to kind of have like leverage against Bernie. So she says, I can't give it back to you. I'm sorry. I need it for the leverage. And he's like, a totes gets it. Elizabeth tries on the dress and she doesn't think it looks very good. But you know who does think it looked good? Nathan thinks it looks good. Knocked on the door, saw her. Auga! The hot thief is still in town. You guys remember him from earlier in the season? The hot thief asks May out to the ball, and she says yes, just before Frickum was going to ask. Dang it. It's time for the ball. Elizabeth sees Nathan stressing about the speech. She says to just imagine you're talking to one friendly face. So he gets on stage, and he literally looks at one friendly face. Which face? Take a guess. Take a guess which face.
May Sue.
No, it's Elizabeth. Rebecca St. James, Madeleine Albright, comes to Hope Valley and gives Bill the deed back and tells him that Bernie and the governor are friends and not to trust them, and that she wants to do what she can to help Hope Valley. So Bill tells Elizabeth, who tells Lucas, and they decide to confront the governor, who says that the whole thing is for the greater good of all citizens. And that sometimes you gotta take out the little guys to make the bigger guys bigger. And he's gonna invoke eminent domain. Those are two big words. When the governor asked Lucas for his thoughts on the matter as a man of vision, he tells Elizabeth and Bill to get lost. I gotta talk to the grown-ups now. So he's talking to the governor, and he's like, Governor, you're right. The big cities, they're the future. But we need a little bit of time. I need to convince the people of Hope Valley. So how about you just divert half the water until after the election? I'll be your man on the ground, but I need to be a partner. And they shake hands, and he says, you have my support. It's time for the radio speech that is going to go through the world. And Lucas goes up to introduce him, but instead of introducing him, he outs him. He says, the governor here doesn't care about small towns. He says, we have an election coming up, and it's time to make the little guy makes himself heard, and that I guess he's running against him. We have the opportunity to make the little guy heard. By the next day, the press have all arrived in Hope Valley, and Lucas is surrounded answering questions while Elizabeth looks on concerned. And that, my friends, was When Calls the Heart, Season 10, Episode 10, all dressed up. We did, everybody. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll break this episode down here on Deck the Hallmark.
Are you okay?
It was a little sticky button. No, I pressed it and nothing happened.
I got you.
It's the second time today it's happened. It's the second time it's happened today, this little sticky button. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to One Calls the Heart, talking about sticky buttons. We're excited to break this episode down. Season 10, Episode 10. Big episode. Big wait what's. Big all the feels. Big all the things.
Can I say this? I know that this may not be as intense as our previous 2 weeks discussions. I have the most wait what's I think I've ever had for a When Calls the Heart episode, and they have nothing to do with Elizabeth, Nathan, and Lucas.
Fair.
Because the rest of this is just like, let the interns do it.
Yeah. But in order to get to all those big things, we have to start with the hot take. It is where we share exactly how we felt about this episode. We do not hold back. As demonstrated over the past few weeks, we have had lively discussions. Jax, what'd you think of episode 10 of season 10? All dressed up.
This was exhilarating, and it was controversial, and it gets people talking, as evidenced by on Hallmark Channel's social media when they are posting previews for next week. There are maybe about, I would say, 20 times more comments on their preview for next week than there are on their other posts for like the last 2 months. So they're activating people, and I am here for it. I think that this was a good episode for Lucas. I thought we got to see him shine. I thought it was an excellent episode for the sex appeal.
Oh.
But am I allowed to say that?
Sure, yeah.
The flirty flirt between Nathan and Elizabeth. The children don't seem to exist in this episode, and that's okay too. I thought it was interesting to see Bill Avery and Madeline St. John, who's not Madeline Albright or Rebecca St. James.
God!
Sheila was just noting that. I got it. Our girl Sheila keeping us honest over here.
I love that Sheila's still correcting that like we're not doing it on purpose. Sheila, come on. You're one of the smartest people I know, Sheila. It's a bit.
I didn't heard Madeline Albright before that.
Yeah,
that was a new one.
Madeline Albright was new.
That was a good
Just kind of came to me.
That was a good one. I love that Fiona is an independent woman that we're getting to see here. You know, when they ask about why do people want to pair up, she's like, I don't know, societal pressures. I'm like, you go, girl. I want to delve into that. And I love her hair salon, and it inspired me to get a new do. So all in all, for me, this episode, I felt activated. I felt excited. I was ready to watch it in real time. And I'm just anxiously anticipating what the last 2 episodes are going to offer us.
If you went to a salon and you walked out with that haircut, would you say that you love that salon?
Would you say you feel activated?
I would say I feel activated.
Activated.
You're right.
Petition
Yeah, that would
what
be the
they
more
do to
accurate.
get salon licenses around here.
I think we're gonna do a live watch party.
That's right.
For the final episode. Is that you? Are you down for that? Sunday night, 9 p.m.
Absolutely.
Eastern.
Oh, yeah.
Live stream our live reaction. If somebody out there wants to try to sync all that up, have fun.
Good luck.
And then we'll do the episode live. It'll be a lot of fun.
Fun time.
I like this episode. I think they did a good job of setting up the governor race and Lucas trying to throw his hat in the ring. I just wish they would have let us in on the conversation. I'm annoyed at Elizabeth's reactions to the governor thing because we weren't really privy to the conversation of them making the plan of, hey, here's what I'm going to do. And I guess I'm going to try to run for governor, which I guess is what's happening, even though he never explicitly says that he's running for governor. He says it's time for the little.
He doesn't ever say it.
He doesn't say it.
Not once.
But they kind of, with the newspaper, it kind of makes it seem as if he is, but he never actually, I don't know.
Oh, see, I took it as he was never planning on running.
And then it just kind of happens.
Planning on exposing him. And then it was like, but you should run.
Yeah, but he never said I'm running for governor or even considering.
Yeah,
now in the preview for next week.
I haven't seen the preview for next week and I don't want any information.
They make it clear.
It makes it clear that he's running. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know how we were supposed to feel about it though. Are we supposed to know that he's running? How are we supposed to take everything that happened in this episode? Did they have it's definitely going to be ambiguous and then by the end he's just going to get thrown into it? Is that how it's supposed to be? Or was it supposed to be clear all the way
They're
through?
trying to make up for the fact that they did nothing for 8 episodes with this. That's what we're supposed to feel. They could have laid the groundwork for this for weeks. And weeks, and they didn't.
Could have, yes. But I will say this. I mentioned last week about how we haven't seen Lucas all but 4 scenes in the past few episodes. This was a Lucas heavy episode, and I remembered why I liked him. He is a guy who's hey, let's do the thing. Let's rally the troops. I've got plans and stuff like that. And so I did find Lucas quite likable in this episode for a season that's been very heavy on me falling back in love with Nathan and not knowing what to do with myself. So yeah, I thought this was a fine episode. I'm intrigued still to see what they do. I think they're obviously making it easy for Elizabeth to be like, hey, let's press pause without it being about her feelings for Nathan, even though I think we all know that's why. So I don't know. I'm intrigued to see what happens. Dano?
Yeah, I think we have a lot of fun here at Deck the
We
Hallmark,
sure do.
And I think for the first 9 episodes, there were varying amounts of that fun because of like how coy and weird this show is playing with this relationship, and how, Nathan is dating Faith trying to at the beginning of this season, and Elizabeth and Lucas are very much in love. Now, as they've done nothing, and now they've awakened, and it's the morning of the performance, and they have to do something. Now, this episode, unfortunately, spotlights a lot of what When Calls the Heart does so poorly. Number one, you know how if you keep drawing something with a pencil and then you erase it and then you draw something else to the top and erase it, and it becomes just a mess of just like this weird gray area and you don't know what to do with it. That's the character of Elizabeth. They have redrawn her, and that is not the fault of the actor, who is an excellent actor. They have redrawn, remade, directed her character so many times that it's a mess. It's an absolute mess, because we're 2 episodes away from the end of this season, where inevitably Lucas is leaving town. Elizabeth is staying in town. Inevitably, that's what's happening right now. That is what's going to happen. And with 2 episodes left, those 2 are betrothed to each other. There is no wedge between them at all. And they still have really good chemistry together. They do. Now, has Lucas been featured before this episode? No, he has not. Have we focused on Nathan and Elizabeth's chemistry? Yes, we have. Is there clearly a connection there? Yes. Is that who they're going to make her end up with for the 5th season of this love triangle? Sure, absolutely. But we're 2 episodes away from that inevitability, and instead of us being to the point where it's obvious she shouldn't be with Lucas anymore because they're not alike, or they're fighting, or they just don't see eye to eye, we're 10 episodes in. They still have great chemistry. He is still an upstanding dude, and so is she. And there is no real reason. They're still betrothed to each other, which is a big deal in Hope Valley. That may not be a big deal now. It's a big deal in the Jeanette Oakey world of Hope Valley. It is. So that's bad showmaking. That's bad writing. That's bad structure. It just is. Having said that, Chris McNally, I think he's leaving of his own volition. I don't have any information on that. That is just my speculation. I think Chris McNally is leaving this show. I think he's done 5 seasons. He's leaving. Isn't it ironic, if that's the case, that he's leaving when Daniel Lissing left?
It's like the Madden curse.
Yeah, it's like all of a sudden whoever Elizabeth is supposed to marry is out of here. I think Chris McNally is leaving. And I think he said, hey, I just have one request. Before I leave, could you guys let me act? Let me just actually show that I can act one time, not pull a quarter out from behind Baby Jack's ear, not say stuff in a monotone voice, actually act. And you know what? It's as good as he's ever been. This episode makes 0 sense. The show is embarrassingly bad. Him double crossing the governor and then giving that speech is as good a performance
great speech
as I've seen on this show in 10 years. So it's a mess. This show has no credibility left. They had 10 episodes to lay the tracks for this. Instead, they didn't. And so they should be embarrassed for that. But Chris McNally is crushing it. He has 2 episodes left of which to do so. And then I think inevitably we'll see him leave and Elizabeth stay. And then Nathan will get next season. And maybe they'll put us out of our misery after 11 seasons. And we can move on with our
Double
life.
Daggers are saying that he's in next season, though, that he's filming. He's
No. They're doing a great. I actually, this is how you know it's a problem. First time I've ever looked up anything about When Calls the Heart. I looked to see if he was in the next season. They are filming next season. Aaron Krakow is in it. Nathan is, or McGarry is in it. Anyone else that's American, they announced. I have not seen, and I could be wrong. I'm sure Sheila's done the research. I could be wrong, but I've seen nothing that confirms Chris McNally as a series regular in season 11. So is he there one day to throw you off the scent? Maybe. But I've seen nothing that confirms him as a regular filming week to week for season 11. So I think we've had our fun. That's the sad part, is I think we've had our fun. I don't know how much more fun we have left to have.
You'd be surprised how much fun.
Oh, I mean, we're going to have fun regardless. But I think the fun, like, I think we're now to the point where it's
look
just
at Jax.
kind of...
She's having a blast.
Jax is having a blast. But this episode is just kind of a mess. And they don't, like, we're still not doing... Like, they should have done this bit where he's, like, foiling the governor's plan in, like, episode 5. And then you can have, like, an unraveling of character. But, that's absurd.
It's time for all the feels. Jax.
So I actually had some angry feels.
Oh, she's angry, everyone.
Okay, Elizabeth, I have empathy for what she's going through. But at the end, when Lucas is talking to the reporters, and some people said he pushed her out of the way.
No.
He did not. Right?
No.
She does this thing where she like acts like she got pushed out of the way, and I'm like,
what?
Girl,
I did not even
a little bit.
Wait, but Dan, you clocked it, right? Like he didn't push her out of the way.
Not even a little bit.
I didn't even know this was a discussion, and I watched it. So I need to go back. I need to take this to the tape.
I was honestly outraged at this.
So there
moment.
are people online saying that she got pushed.
Yeah, when I was watching the women from Suspenders Unbuttoned, Julie and Sarah last night. I love them. And in the comments when they were talking about the episode, people were saying how Lucas pushed her out of the way, and not like they weren't saying it in a way like it was violent, but they were saying like
he cares more about himself than her.
Exactly.
That's
and for
BS.
me, I was just like, no, she's just trying to make a show of it. I was so angry, and also. I was feeling very protective of Lucas in the sense that Nathan is incredible, and what he's doing is incredible, and the pride that Elizabeth feels
interesting.
for him,
that's interesting,
right? Do you see,
I see
that?
what they're talking about.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
That's interesting. It's an interesting move. I don't think that he pushed her out of the way. I think it was a I'm turning now,
yeah.
But it's interesting.
Nathan's great. Go ahead.
Nathan's great. So Elizabeth is clearly very proud of Nathan. And I am not someone who's trying to compare what a politician does to what someone in law enforcement does. But here's the thing. She should be just as proud of Lucas because that is her partner and she's not.
Yeah, that's true.
And to me, that really, honestly, it kind of makes me sick. It really gets me. It really gets my goat. So, and then I was having all the feels for poor Mike Hickam, did someone just say something scandalous about the push?
No, I keep watching it on a loop.
It's not even a push. It's so
stupid. But you know what I'm talking about,
right? It is one of the more absurd takes that,
I can see how they got there.
Oh my gosh.
I can see how they got there too, because it was like Elizabeth wanted us to get there, and that's what.
No, 100%, because it's in two different shots, so it's it was clearly something. It wasn't a let's fumble through this scene and not fix it. It was they had to shoot that multiple times for the sake of the cut, and that's interesting that they would do that if it is nothing. That's all I'm saying.
It was very much intentional. Yeah. It was very much intentional, and. So my final all the feels is that I was watching this with Alex, who doesn't listen to our podcast, who doesn't know how much I talk about Hickam.
It's so frustrating that he doesn't, because I feel like we're buds.
Yeah.
And he just
and he loves you guys.
And we love him, and clearly you love him, and yet I just even like a little bit of effort. I think just to listen to like this particular day of the week.
I've said that, and our therapist has told him that, but who knows when he'll get around to it. He doesn't listen to podcasts.
Well, little does he know that's the final thing before the date is finalized. Is him listening to this on a regular basis.
It's him listening to this. But it was so funny because we were watching the episode together, and we watch a lot of this stuff together, but he kept he kept saying, "Oh, I love the lovable buffoon," and I didn't know who he was referring to.
You didn't know the lovable buffoon was Frickham?
Was Hickam. And because I don't think of him, he's lovable, but I don't think he's a buffoon. And I was just thinking of if Alex listens to this and be like, my fiance has really got it going on for lovable buffoon. But I really had, all the feels for him when he was trying to work up the courage to ask May out. I thought that whole thing was absolutely adorable. The matchmaking was adorable that Fiona and Faith and Lucas were trying to do. So that had me all in my feels. It was so cute.
Man, I'm just still thinking about that push.
There was no push.
Yeah.
Was not a push.
Okay.
There is a move and a, hey, scram over there, woman.
No, I don't
Here's
think
what I
that
think.
he did
I
that.
think No, I don't. I actually thought
He was going to
like
put his
welcoming
arm
her,
around her and she walks off. Yeah.
She reacted as if she had been pushed.
Yeah.
It's so fun. I didn't even know that was a thing. I need to go track down like comments now. My feels are this moment.
Yeah.
I'm very happy.
My feels are pretty angry that somehow this whole episode doesn't have Baby Jack or Henry Gowan in it.
Yeah, man.
Doesn't have Henry Gowan in it.
What?
Baby Jack, I don't need you.
Man, you're a big turd.
I'm a big
You're
turd.
a big turd.
Those are some strong
That's
words.
what they call you in your yearbook.
From a four.
Big old damn big turd.
In my yearbook?
Yeah. You know how adults have yearbooks too?
My adult yearbook?
Yeah, your adult yearbook.
How old are you?
How old am I? How old are you?
40.
Right. Adult yearbook.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Baby Jack.
You're a big
Appreciate it.
turd.
Great. Awesome.
My mom got pushed.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
By his buddy.
No Gowan in this
No
episode
Gowan
really
after the
stings.
way episode 9
Yeah.
ended stings.
That's real
It's
bad.
like he was told off by Elizabeth and he said, I can't show
But
up.
I think, like,
I can't show up this week.
to your point,
Elizabeth's mad at me.
we have to infer, we have to do a lot of work on our end to imagine the strife in the Lucas-Elizabeth relationship. We have to do a lot of work to do things like what Jack's doing, which is very intuitive to go, she's not as proud of Lucas as she is of Nathan.
That is interesting.
We have to do a lot of work to get there. You know why we have to do a lot of work to get there? Because the show is doing none of the work to get there. As far as we are given, Elizabeth and Lucas are doing great. I just like you're not getting like any strife from them. There's a quick thing where he wants to move her, like build a big house, and she's like no, and he's like okay, understood, done. That's it. There's no friction there. There's nothing that would suggest these two people who have been together in love and engaged for the better part of 2 years are on the outs, are close to being done with each other. And so that's frustrating, but no Henry Gowan and no Baby Jack, also frustrating.
Just real quick, I did just go back and watch the speech because I was like, does she do anything? Like, how is she responding to that? And when she says it's time for us to go make our voices heard, she does seem proud in the way in which she's cheering.
Well, not only that, but like I do think that there are several moments in this episode where Elizabeth does reiterate her love and loyalty to Lucas. And
Yes.
I think that's very dangerous at this point. If you're having her leave,
Or she's just suppressing her love of Nathan.
but
through
to suppress her love for
lies.
Nathan, the way her words will be chosen very carefully. But what she does in this episode, a lot of it is very like unequivocal, like in how she supports Lucas and like
Not
when
second guessing.
when they dance and he's like, do you like when they're setting up this big con and she's like, yeah, of course I trust you. Let's work on this con together. Like. All of that stuff, the way she looks when he's talking, like, are you having second thought? And she says no immediately. Like all of these things
Too fast.
aren't like, they don't give you any pause at all. It doesn't, we're not getting enough information here to do the thing that they're going to do.
I love how early in the season when there was like nothing, you were first to be like, she's gonna be with Nathan, and now
called
you're
it.
like, Mister,
She is going to
there's
know.
nothing there.
She is going to be with Nathan. The show is not doing a good job with this transition. They're not. That's my problem. I called it. Go back to the first episode, guys. I feel like
no. Listen, we know.
Listen, I feel like I did the Lord's work there. I'm just saying
I think you did.
they've not earned this. They did a great job putting Nathan and Elizabeth in scenes together. They've not earned the transition or the character changing her mind again and holding the town hostage even longer as all the other men wait. Like it's like all these basketball teams waiting for the first round pick to sign. It's like all these dudes are like, I can't really, find someone to be with until I know it's not Elizabeth. What?
That is hilarious.
Like, oh, the
yes.
first round pick is signed. Great. We can start the rest of the draft now. oh my gosh, it's so terrible. It's so bad.
It's a great segue to letting everybody know that Falling for Basketball is coming back for a second season.
Oh, it got renewed?
It got renewed. Second season.
Renewed?
It's back.
Man.
It's
Heck
back.
yeah, one of my favorites.
Thank you. We're back. I think we're back like this week.
Wow.
Training camp and all that stuff. We're talking about it. Let's get to Hopes and Valleys. This is where we talk about the things
What
that
do
are.
That was all the feels.
Are we gonna wait what
gotta
it?
go
Oh
to
my
a break,
gosh,
and then we
really?
gotta go to a wait what. You are not well today.
I'm not.
You ate Papa John's pizza.
No,
and from that point,
and I know
all of it was tough.
I was bad to begin with. You know that. I came in and I said I'm not on my game today. I'm not feeling great.
That's right.
But I'm. This is
powered through anyway. It's your flu game.
It is my flu game. My flu game sucks. We'll be right back here at Technology.
Hopes and valleys.
I'm like, man, this is a fast episode.
I do love how unabashedly, like, that's just who, like, as soon as you mention the push, that's all Brand's thought of since.
Oh yeah.
Brand watched the video. He's not heard a word we've said, either one of us. You and I are having a conversation. He's just there. He's just pushing buttons over there now. We've lost him.
Honestly, I kind of love to see it though, because it was taking up a lot of space in my brain rent free, and now I feel like I've passed that on to you.
No, and
so
that means a
you're
lot.
welcome.
That means a lot. Yeah, I mean the rest of my day's cooked, but no worries. It's time for the Wait What, a segment I know hadn't happened yet, and we're here now. Jax, what you waiting and what you wasn't?
I only have two. I feel like you guys will have a lot more. I want to start off with like the sisterhood of the traveling sharing dress situation we have. You know, either they're all the same size, fine, or they're not. But I do want to say, when calls the heart, even whether they're the same size or not, to have us believe that they are, we need to have more body diversity in Hope Valley and not just have extremely slender women on the show. So please rectify
Preach.
that
Yeah.
at some point. Thank you very much. And this one, I think I need you guys to maybe explain to me, because maybe there's something I've missed, but I'm still wetting it. So our lovely Madeline Albright,
Yes.
Rebecca St. James.
Yeah.
She has the deed to Bill's property.
Yes.
Yes.
Theoretically, she paid for that.
She did.
Okay. So when she is giving the deed back to Bill, how come he doesn't give her money?
Didn't she
so
say,
that
don't worry about it? Didn't she basically say, I don't want the money back? She didn't want it back? Or maybe
So,
she hasn't.
I don't.
No,
maybe
because
she
she didn't have any
paid it.
money.
She didn't have any money, so he just gave it to her for free?
I think
Originally?
that the payment was probably like, just like if you buy any sort of land, the payment
Yeah.
comes after you sign it. And maybe she's just like, I'm signing this back over to you and you've not received payment yet. Like maybe it's something like that.
Okay. Because I
But
think
you're
what
right. That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, there's a chance they didn't think about it.
No.
I think what I was thinking
No,
was
not
that,
this show.
okay, this woman doesn't have a lot of money. So what she's doing is like the big baddies give her the money to like buy the house or put a down payment on the house, whatever. But that they could have like, you know, gone behind their back. And when she's like, I don't have any money for me and my son. And Bill's like, I think you have more than you think. I was like, good Lord in heaven. Like, how many single moms are we going to say this to?
Yep.
Please.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was waiting and I was waiting.
I love it.
I've got a few. One, they're the boys are hanging out and they're talking, they're having a good time, and I believe it's Frickum says the ball, it's happening in a couple hours, and Lee and Nathan look at each other and go, "We got to go get ready," and they run out.
What?
Couple out, like
2 hours?
2 hours, fellas, like.
No.
Relax. You're telling me that Nathan's gonna take 2 full hours
to wear
to get
the same thing
to wear
he
the same
was
thing.
wearing
Right.
at the time of that scene?
Come on.
Come on.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought the wedding dress was nice. I thought it was a nice wedding dress. I feel like if they're gonna do this bit where it's like the wrong dress and it's ugly, it needs to be really ugly.
When she puts the wedding dress on, I had the
yeah,
exact
I was
same
like,
thought. which
I
was,
actually think it looks really good.
it looks like a nice wedding
It looks
dress.
like a nice wedding.
Jax?
Here's the thing. I thought what they should have done absolutely was go way further with the comedy. I don't think that's a wedding dress. I actually think she does look pretty in it. I think it looks a little like juvenile prom dress, kind of like grown, like she's a grown woman doll type person. But you know.
Are you like pitching a horror movie right now? And what's wild is that make it a point to have Nathan see her in the dress and just be taken aback by her beauty. And I think the real answer is somewhere in the middle. First of all, it's not so hideous that you wouldn't get married in it. Worst comes to worst. And it also isn't Nathan Grant at the threshold of the door acting like he's never seen a woman before. Like it's somewhere in between those two foul points.
It was confusing.
Yeah.
So Lee's having this whole like moping party about like, oh, did I do the right thing? I knew something was fishy, but I did anyway. And then Rosemary talks him out of it. And then he comes to and he looks at her and he's amazed at how pretty she is. My guy eyes her down top to bottom, no less than 5 times, which, for this show is pornographic. This was a lot of eyeballing going on there, so much so that I wrote it down. And last but not least, so how long have we known that the governor's coming to town?
48 hours.
Okay. 48 hours? Is that accurate?
Yes.
Sheesh. So 48 hours ago, we found the governor was coming to town.
I hope you're taking
and
mine.
the governor, one of the things that was promised was a speech on the radio. And it was, hey, we don't really know how to do that. Fiona's going to figure it out. Not only did Fiona figure it out, Fiona figured out how to broadcast onto the radio to, quote, be heard anywhere that has a radio.
Massive. That's right.
Anywhere?
Not those towns. Anywhere that has a radio.
It is just constant being sent out from tower to tower, just being sent around the world. They're getting updates from the governor's speech in Hope Valley. Anywhere that has a radio. Fiona is amazing. Just an absolute engineer, just an expert. Unbelievable.
She convinced everyone else to turn their broadcast off.
They turn it off.
Yes.
We're taking over.
That's right. If you wanted to hear
anywhere that has a radio.
In England, where they're still wondering about the aftermath of World War I, they got to hear Lucas talk about how shady the governor is.
What's going on in Hope Valley?
Prime Minister Neville, Woodrow Wilson is trying to pass the Treaty of Versailles. And he's like, I wonder what Lucas is up to right now.
Did you hear someone on the radio last night talking about Hope Valley? Talking about how he's the governor over there. He was going to just take over everything. You hear about that? Where was that?
Does that involve me? Am I?
Is this for me? I felt like I shouldn't have been hearing this. But I'm somewhere. I've got radio.
Brand, I just want to compliment your dialect work until the very last sentence where it completely fell apart. But it was so good up until that.
Still better than a Venice Romance. Let's start off with the biggie. Does the governor carry with him his medals to give out to Mounties? Because I hate to break this to you, but Nathan was in this hostage situation as the governor was pulling into town. So the governor decides to give Nathan a medal for his bravery long after he's left the governor's town and house. What? Does the governor carry around these medals?
The way I took it, the way the governor introduces the award is I think he was honoring a person in the community at every tour stop he was making. And this happened to be Nathan.
He said he's giving out the Medal of Bravery.
But he says he's honoring a person in every town on his stop.
But they say he's getting the Medal of Bravery because of the hostage situation.
He found out about it.
That's why he was nominated for this award.
So he's bringing medals to every town.
Medals to every town, yes. Medal of Bravery to Nathan for the hostage situation, impossible. Because
I'm thinking the Medal of Bravery doesn't look any different than the medal
they
for good singing in
legitimately
the choir.
say out loud, because of what he did in the hostage situation, he's getting a medal.
Yeah, that's why he's getting the one for Hope Valley. He was nominated because of this
the
situation.
governor comes to town and no one, they don't know who's getting the medal.
They don't know.
They have no idea.
They don't know.
The governor's brought a medal.
Yeah,
and then they get to town and they're like, we should give it to Nathan because of the hostages.
Situation, probably would have gone to Rosemary.
So Rosemary's going to pin that medal not on her Mountie uniform, but on her dress?
Yes.
And
that is absurd. That's a hot take.
I got to
right
be
there.
honest with you.
That is not what's happening.
Even
here.
with the
There's
hostage,
no world where that's what's happening.
Even with the hostage situation, the medal belongs to Fiona because the feat of anyone who has a radio.
Yeah, the two big ones were radio everywhere, and the governor's decided to give a medal even though he doesn't know about it yet. Those two are crazy. This criminal that now works at the Mercantile that's going on a date with
hot thief.
A hot thief. How old is he supposed to
could be
I'm
anything.
so glad you brought that
I
up.
thought he was like 17, and then he asked Mei Su on a date, and I was like, what?
So I'm very curious about this as well because the way Faith was treating him, it seemed like he was definitely a teenager. Like definitely, yeah. So and I feel like Mei Su and Fiona and Faith are all supposed to be around the same age. So something is not
doesn't
right
make
here.
sense. And that doesn't make it any more right though that Fiona and Faith are trying to matchmake May with Hickam while she's on a date with this guy. That's wrong.
Unless the kid is 17 and they're trying to
but if
save
he's
her
17, why did she say yes to begin with?
Different time.
that is
it's a different time.
Yeah, that's brutal. Anywhere there's a radio, you can hear it. It doesn't matter. Anywhere.
Top of the
Anywhere
morning
go.
to you.
That's it. In the Roaring 20s, they're having parties with champagne. Are they listening to music on that radio? Are they doing the Charleston? Heck no. Listen to Lucas. That's who they're listening to.
Jim Bob, you got to get in here, man. You got to get in here and hear what's going on the radio. And play Hope Valley.
Do all the men in Hope Valley have tailored tuxedos? What in the world? They find out there's a black tie event in 24 hours, and they all have tuxedos that were made just for them, that fit them perfectly.
Dan and I can attest.
You're
not getting that from us.
You're not. But
we're going to hope for the best.
Okay, the pastor has one, makes sense. Lee, kind of high class, makes sense. Bill Avery, okay, he was a Mountie. Those three I would give you even though I shouldn't give you. The reality is no one at that economic state has a tailored tux that they own. The rest of these folks, are you joking me right now? 3-piece suits and tuxedos fit perfectly to them? No world.
I don't know, man. We buy our suits off Amazon and they always fit
They
perfectly.
always fit perfectly. Go back and look at the Deckies. There's never been one that hasn't fit right. Never, ever. Hey, you remember last week when I couldn't believe that the guy who was a tourist for the hot springs was working for the governor?
Right.
Now he's secretly working against the governor.
He is now.
He's going over people have been wanting to say this for a long time. Who are you, dude? Who are you? You were mad about the hot springs, happy about the calisthenics, back in town for the governor, and now you're working to get him.
I think when he realized that the governor was responsible for the hot springs fiasco, that's when he said, you know what? Enough is enough. I had a hot springs deal with children, and the hot springs were gone. It's my boss's fault. Screw that guy. I'm moving here. I want to see it as my life's mission to make sure the hot springs never disappear again.
This guy's character is as erratic as Elizabeth. It's just like, what do we need him to be this week? Write it in there.
He only cares about the hot springs.
And then lastly, Fiona's doing all the ladies' hair at the salon on the house. Which means they can't complain if it's not good. But also, I've seen her do 3 people's hair in the entirety of this show, and I think they've always gone wrong. And I'm, I feel like there should maybe be another option. Maybe some sort of competition here to help.
Especially since she's busy rigging everyone's radio.
That's right. She's so good at so many things. Because she's bad at hair doesn't mean we shouldn't love her.
Right.
Right? But let's be honest about it. She's giving away that many free hairstyles. It's probably not great.
Yeah. It's time for Hopes and Valleys, right?
Yeah, it is.
Good.
Correct.
I was wrong once. I could be wrong again. It's where we talk about things that are giving us hope for the future or maybe bumming us out. Jax?
Am I allowed to talk about the preview since you haven't seen it, Bran?
I'll allow it.
Yeah, we also. I watched it live too, Jax.
Okay.
I watched it live Sunday night. Yes, I did.
So you got to see you're as into it as I am.
It's because I was all in. It's because I had to watch it before we started work on Monday because of our recording schedule, and I wanted to go to bed. So the earliest I could go to bed was 10, and that allowed me to do that. So yes,
it's because you need to have it as quickly as possible.
You and I will live tweet it next week.
Real time. Yeah, we'll live. Oh my gosh, we must live tweet next week. am hopeful and so excited for that scene where Nathan is walking towards Elizabeth in the schoolhouse wearing an outfit that he wore, I think, in season 7. Bigger fans of Nathan have pointed it out. And he's like, but what do you want? And it looks like her corset's about to explode. Like everything does. Wild. So I cannot wait for that.
And what's wild is she doesn't give you, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Jack. She didn't give you all the backstory here. Before that, it says, like, Lucas says something like, I'd have to move to Capital City or whatever. And then she says, and then the narrator says, Elizabeth makes a decision that could change everything. And then Elizabeth says, this is bigger than me, Nathan. And then the scene she describes happens. Nathan walks in and goes, but what do you want?
She wants to risk it all is what she wants.
A lot of people were comparing it to the scene in The Notebook with Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams when he's like, but what do you want? And sure, I'm willing to say it's close to the same thing. They're both great. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's very, very steamy. I think what's bumming me out is that I really don't want this. I don't need another love triangle that's with Hickam and the hot bandit who might be underage and Masu.
I actually saw Hickam and the hot bandit who might be underage live.
Really long band name.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Fall Out Boy was actually going to name a song that, but then this band already existed. And they're like, what can we do?
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. Wow. I'm taking so much in today. Between the push, that was definitely a push.
Oh my gosh, Brian.
This preview that I haven't seen, but I feel like I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just, my hope is that the rest of my day I can just sit and just think about it. Just gonna sit with my thoughts.
My hope is to be as far away from Brain as possible.
Well, this is the last thing we're doing today, so your wish is whatever you want to do, man. I'm having a good time. Man, that's wild. They're gonna have a Notebook scene.
Yeah, I don't know if we.
Is he gonna scoop her up?
I mean, there's no kissing in the rain, I don't think yet.
Is he gonna scoop her up? Scoop her right on up.
Are you okay?
I like the word scoop.
Somebody check on Bran.
Scoop. It's my flu game. It's time.
Bran is high.
It's time. I've just had Flonase. That's all I've had.
That's right.
Just Flonase. Let's get to the what's calling my hardest, where the people email stuff about.
Wait, did Dan?
I did. Mine was to be as far away from Brain as possible, and that's.
Oh, that was actually your.
I don't have another one.
That's his.
I
that's
see
always
what's
his hope.
here, and it's not earned, and that's unfortunate. And so.
It's not earned.
Good stuff.
I just think Jack stated that you're pulling it off. Is all I'm saying. Let's put out a poll this week. DrHomer.com/vote.
Yeah.
Jax, I love you, and I'm willing to be honest with you. You are not pulling it off.
It's not great.
Well,
It's not great.
What if she actually did that though, and then you told her?
Oh, if that was your real hair, I would walk out of this room right now. I would be like, "I'll see you later."
All right, try.
I will
give it a pull. Give it a pull. It's a fit.
I will. Oh, I see it. I see the whole thing moving. I will handwrite you an apology if that's real.
That happened in high school. I was doing a production of Annie. I went into school with my hair radically cut, dyed, and permed. And a bunch of my friends saw me in the hallway and they were like, oh my God. And I was like, don't worry, it's a wig. And they said, thank God. And then I was like, no, I was kidding about it being.
Oh no. That's a little bit your fault though.
Yeah.
It's totally my fault. I don't know. I knew it looked bad and I was wishing it was a wig, but I'm
now
very
part
mad.
of me thinks that this is not a wig,
Yes, it's
and
the whole
Jax
thing.
really did that.
By
for
high
her
school,
hair,
she means right now.
and she's gonna just slam the laptop shut because Lord knows she doesn't know how to exit Skype, and she's just gonna cry herself to sleep. Yeah, we're gonna have to hear it because she thinks she's exited Skype and she hasn't. Oh no, my new haircut bombed with Dan. Oh no, he made a Parent Trap joke and not the Lindsay Lohan one.
Do we have a what's calling my heart?
We always have a what's calling my heart. You can email us what's calling your heart.
Wow.
hello@deckthehallmark.com.
We'll get to it by next season.
This is from August.
Oh,
of
wow.
2023. So
we're finally caught up-ish.
Yeah,
we did
we
it.
skipped all of April, May, June, and
Interesting.
July.
That's
Pop,
interesting.
pop. Here we go. This is from Meredith Levanovich. She sent us an email before.
Yeah.
This is not first time, long time.
Not time first time.
Second time, long time. Hey, Hardies, Herdies, Hades, and Farties. No, no, Meredith, you need to take that laugh with a grain of salt. He is hopped up on cold medicine and Lord knows what else. Have you heard him today?
You know what? Lord knows what else.
Lord
Come on.
knows what else. You heard me. Lord knows what else.
Spicy garlic sauce from Papa John's.
Yeah.
Although, if there's still some left in me, that's a miracle. It's been a tough afternoon, y'all. I'm doing great. Doing great.
You're gonna listen back to this and be thrilled with how you composed yourself. All right.
Wait, did you do the thing where you pooped and you didn't poop your pants this time and then leave it when the viral?
No. He asked Bran. All right, this is the third poop story. Bran, clearly Papa John's has made it a tough afternoon. He pooped his pants and then left the underwear in the trash can as we rented out the studio. And you were pooping with the door open as you thought I walked into the office, but it was a delivery person, and you yelled, "I'm pooping."
I'm pooping!
Yeah. And if you're listening in the car with your children and they're snickering,
They're loving this.
This one's for
this
you.
This episode
out there.
is crushing with the kids.
8-year-old boys. That's who this one's for. They're going to think this is a riot.
Which is honestly just our sweet spot.
It's a demographic thing. Yeah. Hey, Hardies, Herdies, Hades, and Farties. You have a problem.
Go.
You have a problem.
Don't read it again.
That was a deep cough laugh.
Go.
Hey, Hardies, Herdies, Hades, and Farties. We were doing so well on time. Bran can't get through the word fart. It's unbelievable. Hey, Hardies, Herdies, Hades, and Farties.
Go. Read it.
What's calling my heart is moderation. I'm not talking about alcohol, but yes, drink responsibly or not at all, everybody. This has been a year of reflection for me. After lovingly heckling Dan about his dearth of laugh emoji usage, she did do that, guys. That's true. I've come to realize something. I'm a laugh emoji abuser.
Oh, wow.
In the DTH Facebook group, at work, in text, it's laugh emojis all the time. There's nothing wrong with being a jovial person, but if everything is funny, is anything funny? See, I've been saying this for years. If you highlight the whole page, nothing's highlighted, right?
This is why I don't.
Podcast, like let's call it the Bubbly Sesh, and they gave every movie a positive review. How would you know which movies to check out at that point? If you
Stick
were
up for
listening?
yourself. Stick up for yourself.
Stick up for me. It wasn't my best work.
But this is why I don't text LOL, because rarely do I laugh out loud unless you're doing fart jokes, and then I'm there for it.
Yeah.
I don't want to lie.
Dan's thoughtful usage of the laugh emoji has garnered my respect, and I'm declaring a ceasefire or cease heckle. Dan, laugh when you want. I respect your laughs when I see them because you don't recklessly toss them out everywhere. And in parentheses, she says, toss it, which I believe.
Toss it.
Toss it. I think that's what we're looking for there. Thanks for playing along and being game for all the laugh emoji silliness from last year, Dan. P.S. I'm not responsible for other people's heckling of you over laugh emoji usage. Your blood is on their hands.
Oh, my gosh.
Yep. Love, like, and laugh, Meredith Levanovich. Well, thank you, Meredith.
Meredith. I love
Amazing,
Meredith.
amazing.
What a fun time.
We'll be back next week. I guess we already kind of know the whole episode because of the preview, but I'm still excited about it because I haven't seen it. Until then, it's first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark is a Bramble Jam podcast. It's produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.